Good evening, Facebookers. Welcome to Facebook Live tonight. My favorite topic ever. Can't wait to share this one with you. As you join the line, do me a favor and let me know that you've joined. Just maybe say hi or mention your name, or maybe, you know what, I'd love to know where you're from. Tell me where it is you're from, what city, what country. I know in the last video we actually had people join from about 4 or 5 different countries, and I didn't realize until afterwards. So tell me where it is you're from. We'll wait here for a few minutes while we give people time to get their notifications to join. Wow, there's like 20 people on the line already. Welcome, guys. Tell me who you are. Tell me where you're from. This is my favorite topic to ever share. I really can't wait to do that. I'm waiting. Hi, Kayleen. Wow, I haven't seen your name for ages, darling. It's so good to see you. Not that I can actually see you, but I can see your little profile picture. Good to have you. This is my favorite topic. I know you actually, I reckon, have heard this before, but it's always awesome to get a reminder on this stuff. Hi there, Tony. Hi there, Dean. Good to have you on the line. All right, we'll get started in about 20 seconds. And yeah, as I was just saying, this is my favorite topic to share. It's all around, this is probably the biggest key in building not even just children's self-esteem, just people's self-esteem, even your own self-esteem, your husbands, your wives, your best friends, just, you know, anyone. If you want to help anyone build their self-esteem, use the language that I'm going to cover tonight. So let's get started. And those who, you know, haven't joined us yet, hello there, Carrie Ann. It's good to have you. All right, so for those of you who might have, you know, followed me a year ago when I did these Facebook Lives, you would have heard this before, but you can never have too many reminders. Even though I know it well enough to teach it, you know, I always catch myself having to give myself reminders sometimes too. So, and for those of you who haven't heard this before, if you actually take in what I covered tonight, it can be the most transformational thing that ever happens to your child's life, and that ever happens in your family. So there's 3 different types of praise. 1 that hurts self-esteem, and 2 that builds self-esteem. So the first kind is what we call evaluative praise, and this is the praise we all get taught to use. This is where we use words like good, excellent, fantastic, great, superb, tremendous, amazing. And what happens is when our child does something, or when anyone does something, you know, we say, wow, that's great work, or that's fantastic, or wow, you're amazing. And we use these words that evaluate the child's behavior or their character or their ideas or whatever it was that they presented to us at that particular time. Now, here's the danger in that, and where it really does damage in terms of building self-worth and self-belief and self-esteem. Anytime we use evaluative words, what we do is we pass our judgment on whatever it was that they presented to us, whether it's their behavior, their work, their idea, whatever it might be, their character, whatever it might be. We pass our judgment. So we use our opinion to evaluate what they presented. But who's to say that we're right? That's only our opinion. You think it's good. You say it's amazing. Now, and where that can be a really big downside is sometimes the child can even like do a scribble work and bring it to you and you go, oh, wow, that's fantastic. And they're like, no, it's not. They actually know it's not, okay? Now, there's 2 problems here. Number 1, when we evaluate a child, when we use evaluative praise, we leave no room for the child to ever have the chance to evaluate themselves. But with all children, in fact, with all people, guess who we believe the most out of anyone on this planet? The person we always believe is ourselves. Yeah. So we want to leave room for the child to evaluate their own behavior. Secondly, you know, people say, yeah, but evaluative praise makes the child feel good. What's wrong with that? That's not wrong. No, it's not wrong. However, it only makes them feel good temporarily. And so it's like a drug. They get their little fix, but then they need another hit, and then they need another one. And this, what we do is we create a child that becomes dependent upon external approval. They literally cannot ever, if no one is around to judge their work or judge their efforts on their behalf, they can't ever be satisfied with something they've done because they don't know how to evaluate themselves. They don't know how to give themselves that self-talk. So as parents, what we want to do is completely, now, this is a skill, which means it's something that is learned and that can be improved over time. So, you know, if you catch yourself trying with this and stuffing up every now and then, or you're sitting here tonight going, gosh, I feel like I've ruined them. I never use these kind of language. Don't worry, it's a skill. You learn it over time. You get better at it the more you practice it. But it makes us be conscious as parents. We have to be. And that's what my whole message is always all about, conscious parenting. So here's what we do. So we want to remove words like good, amazing, fantastic, superb, well done, that's great, that's fantastic. Remove those words because we are evaluating what they have done, and that is all we're doing is passing our judgment. What we want to do instead is use these two types of praise that do work and that build self-esteem immensely, and it's called descriptive praise and appreciative praise. So if you're taking notes, write that down. Remove evaluative praise. So every time you catch yourself about to say, oh, that's great, that's fantastic, stop and ask yourself, what is it about that that's great? What is it about that that's fantastic? Oh, thank you, thanks for doing that, you're awesome. What about what they just did was awesome? And we want to describe it to them. And then when we give them a description without evaluation, we leave room for them to evaluate themselves. It starts a self-talk. The person they believe most is themselves. And so, number one, we start building true self-worth and true self-esteem. And secondly, we raise a child that is not dependent upon external approval to know that they're okay or that they're good enough. Okay, so here's some examples, and you use this with any age. I don't care if you're on the line and you're 120 and you've got a 90-year-old child. Go ahead and use it on that. You can use it on on friends, or if you're even colleagues. Anything. Anytime you raise someone's self-esteem, you get more out of them. They work better. So you can even use this on other adults, anyone you care about. So you describe it to the child. So let me go back to obviously raising children. So so descriptive praise is where you describe what you see. Okay, so for example, I'll use some examples that have just happened in my life today. For example, so the girls clean up after dinner, and instead of saying, "Wow, that's amazing, girls! It looks thank you very much. It's awesome. You guys are great." Okay, instead I came downstairs and I said, "Wow, every single thing has been moved from the table, put on the sink, packed away, and is perfectly in its place." That's it. Now that leaves room for the child to say, "I'm a great helper, I'm helpful, I do a great job." It allows them to say that. Then I sat down with Miami and she was doing some homework, and she ended up doing a couple of pages instead of just one page. And so instead of saying, "That is amazing, you've done so much," I said, "You have sat there for 20 minutes and I noticed that you didn't do just one page, you did two." And then it leaves room for her to tell herself, "Wow, I'm amazing. That's, I'm good. I'm great. I did a great." So it allows her to judge herself. Amani did. So then appreciative praise. So descriptive praise is where you describe what you see. If you've got some young kids, you might walk in and go, "Every single toy has been packed away and is perfectly in its place. Thank you." You could leave it like that. It could be if you've got an older child, and let's say they use your car, they've got their driver's license or something, and they clean. The deal is you can use my car, but you have to clean it or something. Then they go and clean it, and you don't just want to go, "You did such a great job, that was so great," or what you do is you go, "You know what? Wow, my car is so clean, it literally sparkles." You walk into the room and they've cleaned their bedroom or they've made their bed. Not, "Wow, you're amazing, that's fantastic." You walk in and you go, "That bed is made so neatly, I can't see one crease on that doona cover." And then moving into appreciative praise. So an example that I can use is last night I came home from a meeting pretty late, and I noticed when I got out the car to walk through the garage into the house that it had to be Amani, I guess, had literally done the washing for me. So some stuff that I'd hang out on the clothes horse were all packed up, and there was some new washing in there that I knew that I had in the machine. So she'd obviously done that. So this morning, I wanted to acknowledge her for that, right? Because the behavior that gets rewarded gets repeated. So just remember that. The behavior that gets rewarded gets repeated. And so we've got to be careful what behavior we reward with our attention. So anyway, this morning, so how you use appreciative praise is, I said to her, "I noticed that you did the washing last night, you folded everything, and also hung a new load out. And then I said to her, "Thank you. That literally saves me 20 minutes today, and that's going to allow me to do some work that I really wanted to do that I wasn't sure I was going to have time to do. I appreciate you for that." That's it. So I described to her what was the value of that. I noticed, use the word I noticed you folded all the clothes last night and even hung a new load out for me. You know, that saves me literally 15 to 20 minutes today. And that's now time that I can use to do something that I wasn't sure I was going to get the time to do. So thank you. So Amani then tells herself, I make a difference. I'm worthwhile. I'm amazing. So she can judge herself instead of me passing the judgment. All right? Is this making sense to all of you? Hello there, Tanya. Hello, Sandy. Hello there, Andrew Foster. Okay? So remove evaluative praise, so no more words like good or great or fantastic or superb. Now, here's the thing. Once you do build self-esteem in your child, and once you do get good at using descriptive praise and appreciative praise more often than not, then it's okay, completely okay, to every now and then when you're feeling lazy and you want to give them a compliment, to go back and use evaluative praise. There are times where I go, wow, that's amazing. Excellent, fantastic job, thank you. But you don't feed your child or whoever with that kind of praise so much that they become dependent upon it. Okay, we don't want them to rely on that, because all that creates is they're looking for their next hit. They're looking for the next person that's on the outside of them that can give them external approval to let them know that they're good enough and that they're okay and that they do a good job. We want them to be able to have that internal conversation even when they're by themselves, so they can appreciate their own efforts for the rest of their life, and they don't need someone around to have noticed what they've just did in order to know that was good enough. All right, does that make sense? Yes, anyone have any questions? I want to keep that pretty short because it really is that. So we remove evaluative praise, anything that passes judgment and evaluates the effort someone made or the character that they've shown or whatever it might be, and instead we use descriptive praise and appreciative praise. And how you use descriptive praise, just to sum this up, is you describe what you see. Okay, so you describe everything's been packed away. Wow, my car sparkles. I noticed the floors were clean. Gee, that saves me some time and effort today. Thank you. Okay, and with appreciative praise, just use the words thank you. Thank you. I noticed you did this. That saves me some time. Gosh, it makes a difference when you guys clean up. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, rather than, oh, you guys are so awesome. Okay. So that's it. That's my message tonight. Guys, here's the thing. If you really truly believe that you got value from this topic is literally the closest to my heart, because this is the fundamental. This is the foundation that builds self-worth and self-esteem and self-belief and self-love in a child. There's probably no other topic that I'm so passionate about than this one. And if this was the only thing that you learned to change as a parent, just little bit by little bit and day by day, I swear, we will change the way the next generation run this world for us on our behalf. And so, please, if you believe you've got value, don't just keep this information to yourself. Share this. Tag someone, tag everyone that's a parent that genuinely wants to put their effort into being an even better parent, and not even parenting. I just noticed what you said there, Bronwyn Painter. Thank you. Just, that it even helps at work. You're in a managerial position and you're working with a team of people. Give them some appreciative praise. Appreciate an effort. Don't just say, that's great, thanks. What was great? So just ask yourself, what's great about that? If I'm about to say that's fantastic or that's superb, what's superb about that? What is it about that I'm saying is fantastic? So remove the word fantastic and describe what you're saying. What you're seeing. All right. Same could be said for the workplace. Absolutely. Yep. Thank you, Nikki. I appreciate you. Awesome. Now here's the thing, guys. As I always say, this kind of parenting or this kind of even friendship or whatever, it takes courage. It really does, because we have to be conscious, we have to be self-aware, and we have to break the mold. And you use language like this in front of other people and you are a bit weird. So it does take courage, just enough courage to even just admit to yourself, it's not to say I'm not doing it a good way, but I can do it better. That decision in itself takes courage. So as you leave from here tonight, don't just go and return to life the way it was. Depart from here with courage. The courage to believe in a better way. The courage to voice what you've got to say. The courage to thrive when times are tough. And above all else, the courage to know you are good enough. Good night, everyone. Thank you. I appreciate you too.